The rake. Most women end up with men that lack passion, men that are only going through the motions, men that work all day to get home feeling exhausted, ready to watch TV and sleep. Some of these men tell their woman that they love them, but she can sense that he's just saying it. He doesn't really mean it. A rake understands the emotional pain and boredom that most women are going through. They understand that most men are just not exciting enough. Rakes are exciting because they make women feel loved and provide them with adventure. There's something off about rakes. They seem slightly evil, but this is the quality that interests women the most. Better to seem devilish than boring. The ardent rake. The Duc de Richelieu had the reputation of a man that couldn't resist women. He was funny and very bold. Mademoiselle de Valois was a high-class woman, and her father wanted to marry her to a high-status man. One day, while taking a walk in Paris, she noticed a man looking at her from afar. It was the Duke. He couldn't stop looking at her, and his stare pierced through her defenses. She felt an attraction that she could not explain. She was told who he was, and to stay away from him. He was a heartbreaker, and she was a high-rank woman. She would have nothing to do with him. A couple of days later, she took a walk someplace else, and the Duke was there. His eye contact was overwhelming. The Mademoiselle felt excitement. She later began receiving letters from him, expressing his uncontrollable desire for her. She didn't want to disobey her father, but she couldn't help feeling such strong attraction for the Duke. Right before going to bed one night, she noticed her maid coming in the room, only it wasn't the maid. It was the Duke dressed up as her. The Mademoiselle panicked. In how much trouble would she find herself if she was caught with him? She would tell him to come to his senses and leave, but it wasn't hard to change her mind. All the Duke had to do was stare at her the way he used to, and he had her. She didn't know what to do. Her emotions were telling her to let this happen, but her mind was telling her to avoid the Duke. In the end, the Duke's touch, his gaze, and the danger of it all touched her heart. They had sex that night. The Mademoiselle's father heard of their encounter, and he became even more overprotective. Meeting with the Mademoiselle was becoming a greater challenge, but the Duke loved challenges. He bought the house right next to theirs under a different name, and he managed to see her constantly. It was a thrill to both of them, an adventure they were never going to forget. But the Duke eventually got bored of her and moved on to his next victim. The ardent rake has two qualities that are irresistible to women: his reputation and his determination. Everyone in Paris knew how much women desired the Duke and how much he desired them. It became an honor to be his victim, something to be proud of. If he didn't desire you, there had to be something wrong with you. Whenever he desired a woman, he would do anything to get her. She became the center of his universe, at least for a while. No obstacle was big enough for him to give up. He would always find a way to get to his victim and seduce her. Such uncontrollable desire is extremely seductive to women. The demonic rake. Gabriel D'Annunzio was a middle-class journalist that was short and ugly. Men had nothing to fear from such a man. A lot of them even began introducing him to their wives, but when he was alone with women, D'Annunzio's unattractive attitude changed drastically. He had a delightful voice that would seduce women briefly. He was poetic, and some women said his voice had a hypnotic effect. He would tell each woman exactly what she wanted to hear, and even sent them poems that seemed to be written specifically for them. There was something very sexual about him. Women felt their souls being lifted when he talked to them. In the end, D'Annunzio got married, and later joined the army to participate in World War I. He led important and dangerous missions that made him a hero to his country. People would gather around wherever he went to hear his speeches. What he said didn't matter as much as how he said it. His voice was unforgettable. The masses were seduced by it. He flattered the crowd and made them feel as if they were part of some drama. Everything he said was vague and suggestive. While men are vulnerable to the visual, D'Annunzio understood that a woman's weakness is language. The demonic rake is an expert at seductive language. His words are suggestive and insinuating, and they hypnotize women by making them feel desired. D'Annunzio's way of speaking was so effective that not only did it seduce women, but large groups of people. It's important to understand that the rake's words aren't to be taken literally. They are meant to persuade and flatter the victim. The content in and of itself doesn't really matter as much. The less the targets focus on what you say and more on how it makes them feel, the more seductive your effect. Rakes are clearly dishonest and seem to lack the ability to commit to one woman, but they are seductive because they provide women with pleasure and enough danger to excite their boring lives. Relationships tend to be very exciting in the beginning, but they usually become routine, causing both partners wanting to relive the initial stages of love that brought them together in the first place. Not to say that relationships can't be exciting after the initial stage, but most men lose interest in their woman after some time, no matter how attractive she is. This is where the rake comes in. He isn't the careless husband. He is the devoted lover that these women long for, and with no strings attached. The rake offers women a break from everyday life and gives them an affair of pure pleasure. To be a rake, display a strong desire for your victim. A rake makes it obvious when he likes a woman. His desire is so strong that women become blind to the possible negative consequences that may come if they trust him. They pay no attention to his immoral reputation because he's living only for her and he's making her feel validated. Convey a sense of risk and darkness. You must seem slightly devilish, not enough to scare her away, but enough for her to feel as if she is engaging in something unique and thrilling. Don't assume that most women are innocent. Like men, they're attracted to what they can't or shouldn't have. A devilish appearance will make women want to tame you. You want to make it seem as if they're succeeding, but don't let her change you completely. She won't move on as long as there is more to do. Let yourself go. Let your emotions take hold of you. Make it seem as if you can't control yourself. You might seem weak, but a little weakness goes a long way. It makes the woman feel special. Just make sure you don't look needy. Neediness and insecurity are not seductive at all. Overcome obstacles. Rakes are masters at overcoming obstacles. They love them because obstacles give them the opportunity to prove themselves. Jealous boyfriends and husbands, long distances, overprotective families. These are challenges that gratify women when overcome. A man that is willing to take on challenges for a woman is of high value. Find challenges or create them. Build and embrace your reputation. People should know how much women desire you and how much you desire them. A lousy reputation won't take you far. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more.